We're seeing a push for real, tangible change, and it's happening right before our eyes, thanks to nationwide protests demanding a different and an equal country. In St. Pete, those movements continue. 10 Tampa Bay's Emerald Morrow spoke to protesters who say in order to end racism in law enforcement, we must fight the systematic racism that allowed it to happen.
As protesters take to the streets of downtown St. Pete, it is clear they realize these demonstrations are only going to go so far, and they need action to produce results.
The chants are powerful, and the signs carry a message. But protesters who marched through downtown and back to City Hall realize this is only the beginning.
I hope that it brings some kind of lasting change.
We got to be able to hold.
But the local NAACP says that change means attacking systemic racism in our daily lives.
What impacts education, impacts economic development, what impacts health care, what impacts transportation, and the bottom line, the quality of life for people of color becomes totally dismantled because we experience all of these acts of racism.
The protests have already sparked some systemic change. Across the nation, we've already seen some departments ban chokeholds, others change policies, and cities call for complete reform. And just today, NASCAR banned the Confederate flag at events, a flag some see as a symbol of history, but others see as one of hate.
Those are really nice gestures, but at the end of the day, that won't change the policies and the practices because folks will go right back to business as usual. That's the piece of this that has to change this time, and I think we've had it. I think this is it.
You see, all of these movements, even those here at home, are leading to change. NASCAR, as you heard, at the forefront of that tonight. But here's a deeper dive into how their decision today is something they came so close to doing a few years ago. In 2015, the governor of South Carolina signed a bill to remove the Confederate flag from the state capitol after a white supremacist shot and killed 9 African Americans during a Bible study in Charleston. Leaders called for NASCAR, which is a place where Confederate flags are often seen, to also remove those flags. At the time, their statement said they support the governor's decision and that they would continue their policy of not allowing the flag in any official NASCAR capacity. But added, quote, NASCAR recognizes that freedom of expression is an inherent right of all citizens, stopping short of banning the flag altogether. That changed today. So too did the rule in U.S. soccer requiring players to stand for the national anthem. The U.S. Soccer Board of Directors announced that it would vote to appeal, and it did vote to appeal that policy. That rule was put into place in 2017 after U.S. women's national team star Megan Rapinoe knelt in support of Colin Kaepernick.